Bienvenidos a otro episodio de Tips de Composición de Canciones con su servidor Oscar Boulanger, Oscar Molina, y hoy tenemos un invitado muy especial, Erik.
Hello.
Hola,
Erik? Hermano, gracias.
Sí.
Thanks for having
Erik
me. Deutsch.
Deutsch, gracias.
Yeah, Erik Deutsch.
Sí.
Don't worry, it's a tricky name.
It's a tricky name.
Yeah, when I was young, cuando era joven en Estados Unidos, no one could say it.
Okay.
Now in America, it's a little more common, I think, the name. Maybe, but anyway, don't worry. No pasa nada.
Okay, Erik, welcome. This interview will be in English. Esta entrevista va a ser en inglés.
How about Spanglish?
Spanglish. Okay, we're going to combine it.
¿Sí?
Yeah, claro que
gracias
sí.
por tu invitación.
Oh, thank you for coming. It's an honor having you here in the school.
Estoy súper feliz para conocer tu vibra aquí.
Muchas gracias. No. We're excellent people.
Obvio.
We're amazing. I don't know, people when come here all the time, it's like, wow,
special
I get
humans.
a good vibe. Welcome, and we have some questions. Some people wants, a lot of people wants to know you about your career, how you started. I was reading about that you won a songwriting contest when you were young.
When I was about 8 years old, maybe.
Okay.
Con 8 años.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in school in Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow. Okay.
And I was born in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Moved to Nashville when I was like 6 years old for just 5 years. And my mother's from Nashville, so we had some connections, family connections there. Family, mi abuela, abuelo, tía, tío. And there was a songwriting contest in my school, and I won it, and I was then joined with a professional Nashville songwriter, which there are many. Nashville is a famous songwriting town.
Yeah, Nashville is like I don't know. I haven't been on Nashville, like not even visiting, but what I have heard is like the songwriter niche is there,
Yeah, it's always been a very big songwriting town. All the publishing for the musicians exists in Nashville, all the publishing houses. And so, I joined with a professional guitarist, songwriter, John Knowles was his name. And we went to like the park, and he wrote the music for my lyrics. Okay. Because I had just written the lyrics. And then we had a performance at the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Okay.
It's funny. I think it was my first gig.
Wow.
That wasn't a piano recital, because I had piano concerts for my piano teacher, recital. But
so you started. So like you made the song, the lyrics, and then
worked with him, and he wrote music.
And then he wrote the music, and then how you entered to the world of piano, like.
Well, already I was studying piano.
Okay.
I started piano when I was 6 years old. Okay. And my grandfather had been a musician. My father played piano casually, but my father played, so we had a piano in the house. And there was always music around the family, when we got together with the grandparents and my cousins, there would be music. There was instruments, and my grandmother played piano, and so it was natural for me to start. I started in Nashville, and just right away felt good at piano from the beginning, Okay. So it was always something that I did, and by the time I was 10 years old, I was trying to make a band with friends, jamming, And then I moved back to Washington, D.C., where I was born. Moved back in 1987, 87. Immediately started jamming with people, playing different styles. So mis clases de piano, and this time was classical music.
So, okay, you started with, that's what I was going to ask you. You started with classical music.
Of course, I started with classical.
And then you go to Washington and you start jamming.
Even in Nashville, I was jamming on rock, a little bit. I had a keyboard, my first keyboard in Nashville, and was jamming on rock. And then in Washington, when I moved back, when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, really started playing more and more rock and even a little bit of jazz.
Okay.
I think my first jazz was cerca de 13 años.
Okay.
My first,
Introduction to jazz.
Yeah,
First piece,
exacto.
Yeah.
Tuve un profesor, I think cerca de 13 años para mí, que el profesor me ensayó un poco de jazz, but no comprendí más like este estilo en este momento, pero I could do it, you know. I did what he asked, and as I got into high school, a little older, like 15 años, 16 años, I started to play more jazz, more rock, different styles, a little bit of country music, and ended up going to Universidad in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, the University of Colorado at Boulder. And allí yo estudié jazz y clásico también, but más o menos jazz.
I was I went to University of Texas at El Paso, UTEP, and we had like kind of the same, like classical, like some of the classes were like music theory, and but they were like more like the classical side. But my teacher was a jazz musician.
Yeah.
He was like, no, that's I see it like this way.
Yeah, exactly. Yo tuve una experiencia similar.
Similar. Yeah, I got you.
Sí.
Yeah.
But I had a great college experience with music. It was very, very good. I started a band in college that was popular, and eventually toured the United States for a number of years, 5 years or 4 years maybe, with this band. So while I was in college, I was also going on tour.
Okay.
And for this reason,
how did that work? Because some of the students are here, some of them are playing already, and they got this. We're very open mind, like, okay, if you had an opportunity to play on a big venue or you're gonna go on tour, just let us know.
No, it's
go.
Es inteligente, es importante.
Yes.
Porque, el camino del músico profesional es, una gira es importante en experiencia en el mundo, right?
Yes.
Es muy valioso. ¿Valioso?
Mm-hmm.
Sí. Porque, la escuela en educación es importante, pero la experiencia en el mundo es probablemente más importante, lo siento. So,
Yes.
But I think
totally agree.
una balancia.
Balancearlo, yeah.
Claro que sí, pero...
got some street, that's how we call it.
Yeah, street smarts. Yeah.
Street smart,
Street knowledge.
Yeah.
So what happened for me is I left school, after 2 years, I left school for 1 semester.
Okay.
Por el otoño, and went on a gigantic tour with the band.
Nice.
And then regresé a la universidad en la primavera. I did that for 2 years, and then I left school for 1 year and un año y medio sin escuela, and just con conciertos con mi banda.
Okay.
And then eventualmente regresé a la universidad cuando yo tuve 24 años, quizás, 23 años, y completé los clases. Yeah, exacto. So últimamente necesité 7 años para completar la universidad.
I got 5. Yeah.
Yeah. You understand.
5.5.
You understand.
Really. That's great to hear, because some of the students has like okay, if I'm studying, I'm not gonna do this, or like very close minded about that. And it's great that you share it, that you could do both, and it's okay, because you're getting this knowledge and this opportunity to go on tour. and you're not gonna miss it because the school will tell you, no, you gotta stay here. No,
They
no,
told
no.
me. They told me that. Yeah. In fact,
Okay.
I had a scholarship, a small scholarship.
Okay.
And they took it away.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it was
Well,
small, but it was still it was strange. I think at that time, this was in the late '90s.
Yeah.
I think at that time in America, the jazz schools were a little confused about how to teach, in my opinion.
Okay.
They were kind of teaching us to be teachers.
Okay.
Like the curriculum wasn't modern.
Yes.
It was about like bebop.
Okay.
And that's bebop. I love bebop. I'm not good at it. And it's hard. And there's very little work
Yeah.
in the world for bebop musicians.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Now we understand that. I mean, you have picture of Radiohead and,
Yeah.
and whoever, like different artists. Who are these guys?
Los Tigres del Norte.
Tigres del Norte, exactly.
Yes.
You have pictures of these guys, like in my jazz school, the only thing that mattered was Charlie Parker and Miles Davis. And I love those guys, but it didn't have any modern context. Like, how do you go out in the world and make a living, become a professional, just playing music of Charlie Parker and Miles? No.
I think it is okay to start and learn it and know
course.
who they are.
Of course, it's okay to learn
study
anything.
them. Yeah.
It's okay, and those guys are master musicians of the world, of history of America, for sure, masters. But the touring that I did was where I really started to learn how to be a professional musician, both in my playing and my composition and my own musicality, but also in my music business sense.
Yes, thank you.
Skills, habilidades del negocio de música.
Del negocio de la música. That's an excellent topic, and we're getting to same thing with me. When I was studying, nobody taught me how was going to be outside. How now I graduate. Now what do I do to get my music to be? I'm still learning, but what skills do I need? One thing that happened is I met some people at college that they're doing great. One of them played with the Mars Volta. One of them played with Juan Gabriel and Lila Downs and all that. And those connections, great. But, it happened the same. I was thinking too, the problem that I was in, we're talking about American colleges now. The problem was mostly for education too. And I got there like from 99 to 2005. And still the program, and one of the asesores académicos, how do you say it?
Academic society.
No, not society, academic, the guy that will guide you.
Counselors.
Counselors. One of the counselors.
¿Qué es la palabra? Counselor?
Asesor académico.
Yeah.
One of them was like, you're studying music composition. Are you ready to apply to McDonald's or things like that? Like and that's
amazing.
At that time they had like a very dark humor.
That's pretty dark. Yeah, that's pretty dark.
So I was like, okay, what are you gonna do with your life?
But también it's kind of real.
Yeah,
it's a little bit real. I mean, that's extreme, but like just to say, hey, this is great, but it's going to be hard, to find how to do that, what to do. But no,
But they were at the same time they were like, well, we got the music education program, so yeah, in case,
great. Yeah, that's a little strange though, right? For them to be like paying them to go to their school and they're telling you, yeah, that's a little strange. But you did obviously found a good path. Thank you. You did a good job with that.
Thank you. Well, I'm still. I believe that I'm a songwriter, but I believe that we also have to teach like all the greats, they were. I'm not comparing me with anybody, but that you have to pass that knowledge, like part of the responsibility. Like you're playing, you're doing some stuff, and then okay, well, for the new generation, this is what I got now. And that's probably that we're doing this on this podcast too, to share. I love that feeling to share knowledge and to help young generations.
Of course.
But well, in that first band, that what is the name of the band?
The band was called Fat Mama.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have been playing with a lot of bands. I heard Nora Jones, Dixie Chicks, Black Crows. Okay, tell me about it. To working with them, how was that jump? Well, you had it since early, since within the songwriting contest as a kid, but now that you're telling me that they had like this big jump with this band at college. How was it like working different genres too?
Well, it's always been natural to me because I've been doing it since I was a kid. I always liked different types of music, different styles. I always connected with rock. I was addicted to the radio, but classical music I played. Never had a strong passion for classical music, although I enjoyed playing it. I wouldn't say that I loved it. You know what I mean? But I do love classical music now. But rock and roll was my passion, blues and hip hop and rap, and R&B and soul music and country music. I think was in my blood because of
Nashville.
Yeah, exactly. My time in Nashville as a kid, and so it was always natural. So after even in college, during my time with Fat Mama, I was still playing with other bands. Yeah. After, I really began to work a lot. When that band finished around 2001, and I went back to college, I returned to the university, and at that time I played in lots of different bands around Colorado. And Colorado has a very good music scene. Nice. And I just became comfortable playing different styles of music. Although jazz music always seems to be the foundation, my core, mi corazón, no?
Okay, jazz music. Okay.
Yeah, I think jazz music is at the core, but I'm just as comfortable playing rock. It's I think that somehow I'm a jazz musician.
Okay. But there are like in college, for example. It's a thing that happens like on every school, that they're very close mind. Like for example, I say if it is a classical school, like this is the true, and like if you play classical piano, everything else. Classical piano, like that close mind. It happens when I was in college.
Seguramente, sí, it's the same. Yes,
it happens to in jazz schools too. Like this is like very pure thing.
Yeah, I never agreed with that.
Me neither. Yeah.
I understand with the classical that mentality more than the jazz because the classical music is a very rare, or the classical musician. It's a rare talent. It's kind of a dying art a little bit, so it's important to protect it. Yeah. But the whole concept of jazz music is growth and expansion and forward vision. It's the complete opposite. Classical music is about honoring the past, mostly. Jazz music is not really about that. It's about moving forward. Yes. Like what was so amazing about Miles Davis, Charlie Parker, these people, is that John Coltrane, is that they were, creating and a style and a vision that no one had heard before, and they were constantly, in the case of Miles Davis, recreating and reinventing himself, to new styles. So that's what jazz music has always been about.
Of course,
not looking at the past.
And actually looking like what was happening like last decade. Okay, let's not do that. Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Like cool jazz. Like what I love coming from bebop, like a lot of now said, and like
and then it
Donnelly and all that, and cool jazz is let's chill.
Let's chill. Yeah, the opposite.
The opposite.
Yeah.
And I love that about jazz.
And
It's part of
it's part of the tradition, and it's the most important part. So like instead of like studying the past and becoming an expert at the past, that there's value to that. I for sure am a student of jazz history. I very much appreciate it. However, to have a career as an important jazz musician in whatever capacidad that means, if whether it's in your village or your city or your country or internationally, if you want to be an important voice in jazz, you have to be modern.
yes.
You can't be just to the past. Although, there's a little bit of, the best bebop piano player for now or the best cool maybe has a career.
Okay.
But you have to be the very best.
Okay.
It's hard to be the best in the world at anything.
Yes.
That's not common.
That's not common.
Or a real goal, like that's a tough goal.
Yes.
So why not just create a new thing? Yeah. It's a little easier.
And make it like a difference, make your signature or
A new voice.
your new voice.
Personal voice.
I just what do you think? I need some how you said update. What is happening now in jazz that is being like most postmodernist, like doing like we're not doing this anymore. Now we're doing that. The last thing I heard probably was like we're not gonna play that so much harmony. We're just gonna do like triads or simple thing improvising.
I think that.
But I don't know what is happening.
Well,
but
I
thinking
just
about
think you
10
have to
years
look
ago.
artist to artist because it's so there's such variety going on. But I would say more than ever, jazz and the genre has mixed and merged with world musics of the world, of Asia and Africa and India and South America. It's mixed with rock and roll, with R&B, hip hop. It's just really a blend, a potpourri of what, however you want to say it. It's not one thing at all, So you look at each artist and you say, okay, who are the most successful artists right now in jazz music? It's a big question. I don't know. Like, there's the guys that are still doing it that are the legends, Metheny, Herbie Hancock, Joe Lovano, I don't know, Billy Hart, even Keith Jarrett, but Keith Jarrett I think has retired. And then a little Brad Meldau, and you start to look at what are they doing?
Rosenwinkel.
Yeah, Rosenwinkel. Hollenbeck, Theo Buckman. Stephen Bernstein. There's many legends in New York City, but the young guys, the V.J. Iyer, the Mark Juliana. These are people that you're going to find at international jazz fests. Nice. What are they up to? Always modern things, different things. It's all so different. Okay. There's no one style going on in jazz music. That's for sure. Todd Sikafus, Jenny Scheinman, Allison Miller. I just named people, friends and amazing musicians. Charlie Hunter, who I played with for 3 years in his band. That's a great one. But, it's just, I think everybody's doing a lot of different things. Everybody's mixing genres now. Okay. Everybody. And most of these people are playing in other people's bands, too. Okay. There's very few jazz artists that are just a leader. It exists. Okay. Robert Glasper. It exists, but it's more rare than ever.
Okay. I'm thinking of a weather report. Like you have like these super bands, like they have like their own career. Wayne Shorter, Jaco Pastorius.
But this is a different. This is,
I'm
I don't know if it's possible now. I mean, I guess that those were guys who had been famous as sidemen.
Yes.
In terms of Wayne and Joe Zawinul, right? They had already been famous 20 or 15, 20 years playing with Art Blakey, playing with Miles Davis. And then they had their own record deals on major labels, right, as solo artists. Wayne Shorter on Blue Note, and then Columbia, and Zawinul, something similar. And Jaco joins the band, and he's a big star immediately. But then they make another major label band. It's more possible in rock and roll than in jazz.
It is more like a rock and roll setup. But I was thinking about that, about having playing with everybody. Like you got your project, you got your trio, but in this project, I'm playing with for this guy, and he's the leader, and I'm part of it. Okay, great. But still, the thing, the opening, about the thinking about always getting new things is still happening in jazz, but in different genres and different kind. Like everybody's trying to say, okay, well, that happened before. We're gonna do this.
Yeah, and different. I think that the final thought on the jazz state of jazz is that jazz is it's in a good place. It might not sound like you think it should. You might not, the casual fan might not recognize jazz because it sounds so different. But I think it's just creative instrumental music usually, and there's also good vocalists too. But just creative, forward-thinking, improvisational, ensemble, genre-defying music. And I think the status is just fine. I think there's plenty of fans, plenty of clubs, enough labels, and enough gigs. I think it's out there. So
nice. To close the interview, is kind of time. We can continue if you want to. Let's move to the songwriting process.
Oh.
Okay. What advice will you give to your young self about songwriting or about writing music? Your young self or one of the students today that are making music, or not only our students, but to the people, to the potential songwriter in the future. What is the advice or what tip will you give? Let's say, well, now that I do this.
I think that it's just about personal voice. Just trying to be honest and creative with your songwriting. And whatever that means. But you can always tell an honest song from something that's maybe copying something else or maybe not doesn't embody the spirit of the person playing it. You have to believe in your songs. You have to feel them. And if you do, then the audiences will also, So I guess just it's a tough question to answer. One piece of advice, but I think just try to be honest in what you're expressing and creating within your songs, and work hard on them. Don't be lazy with your songwriting. Make the songs better. If you think you have a good song, finish it good. Or you have a good start to a song, don't be lazy. Don't just let it have a good start. Make it have a good ending. Yeah. Make it have a good middle. Nice. You know what I mean? Put in the work and the energy, and sometimes that means changing and maybe throwing away something that you thought was good, but that actually a lot of times you'll start a song and then you'll get something going, and then you realize a little later that it needs to change. Be willing to change. Be willing to edit.
sacrifice some parts.
Yeah. Don't be too precious. When you're too precious, meaning like caring too much about one little part, don't be afraid to get rid of it and move on to a better, make it better.
I love it. I love it because one of the problems that I see in our students is we got a great beginning, but I don't know what to do after that. Like a great first verse.
Of course.
And then, and that's the hard part. Like saying, okay, we're gonna do what will come next. The pre-chorus. How do I'm with you. Totally agree. It's just like, okay, what will you gonna do to make this better? Like you got the first verse like here. Now what are you gonna do?
Yeah. What can we do?
What can we do? And working on that, and it's sitting there and find the next pre-chorus, chorus, or the ending, or the great, or the mirror part. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true, and it's hard, but I think that's the composer mentality. Composition. When you're a composer, sometimes I think about the difference between songwriter and composer.
Okay.
And they're the same, and they cross over a lot. But I think in the end, a composer is like a builder, an architect, and you're developing ideas, like Beethoven can take da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, and make an entire symphony out of that little tiny idea, And a songwriter is something a little more pure, maybe, where you have a feeling, a need to express a feeling, and you just get it out. It comes out, it pours out. It's a natural thing. But of course, you can be a mix of both. But the composer part of us is where we have a great songwriting idea, and then we need to finish it or continue it. How do we do that? We become a composer, and we build. We finish the house. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being on our interview.
A true pleasure. Gracias a ti.
Gracias.
Estoy súper cansado, súper feliz para estar aquí.
Okay. How do we find you on redes, media, or social media?
You can find me on. I'm on all the streaming services. I have, I think, 9 records under my name.
Okay.
Eric Deutsch. And, but I also play in many other bands on many other records, and I have a website called hammerandstring.com. Hammerandstring.com, like a piano, and that's my website, and you can always see what I'm doing for gigs and what's going on. So.
You're playing tonight with Javier
Blake. A good friend, a great musician, playing his music in Guadalajara, and then having an after at Luperca. And a jam, yeah. So.
It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Yes, gracias.
Probably this show will be next week.
Exist.
Yeah. But thank you for coming. It's an honor having you here.
You're welcome. Hey, and one other thing is, I have a radio show here in Guadalajara.
Oh, yes.
Hace 10 años con Jalisco Radio.
Okay.
Todos los jueves por la noche a las 8, 96.3.
With Sara.
Yeah, con Sara Valenzuela, mi amiga querida.
Yes.
I love Sara, and I've been a guest on her show every Thursday. Now, 351 episodios, sí. And then el nombre is The Sounds of Brooklyn and Beyond. Nice. So check out the show. Yeah. I play music from my friends and from jazz and my music and talk about it. It's great.
Great. So is it still going? Or
sí?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Sí, todos los jueves.
It just started like 2015?
Quizás 14 o 13.
Quizás 14, 13, okay.
Sí, yeah, and it's also, también es un podcast.
Okay.
On iTunes, Spotify.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Después de los noches de jueves, el viernes, it becomes a podcast. So.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the invitation. Yeah, we'll check it out.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
¿Por
Yeah.
qué no?
Learn more.
And you can find that on my website too. So it's easy to find.
And you're playing now with Javier and who else you are touring with?
Well, the Black Crows is my main
Black
job.
Crows, okay.
Yeah, we were on a big tour with Aerosmith in September.
Nice.
But, yeah,
Okay.
Steven Tyler hurt his neck.
Okay.
Entonces, necesitamos esperar for him to get better, and then en el año próximo.
So you're playing with Aerosmith.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Black Crows and Aerosmith.
Nice. Okay, nice.
Big tour.
Big tour. And Dixie Chicks.
No más, but I did it. I did it
you
before
did
the
it,
pandemic.
okay.
Yeah, in 2019, 2020.
Okay.
And I'm always playing my own music. De hecho, me voy a Argentina la semana próxima para tocar algunos conciertos.
Nice.
En unos conciertos.
With your
Yeah, mi
project.
música, sí.
Okay, nice. Okay, well, congratulations. All
Gracias,
right.
amigo.
Everything will go excellent there. All
Thanks.
right. Thank you so much for
Thanks, brother.
Un
placer.
listening us here.
Sí.
Well, esto es todo por hoy. Hoy tuvimos al gran Erik. Deutsch, gracias.
But you're close, don't worry.
You're
That's
close.
great.
I'll practice it all the
Don't
week
worry,
and
no
I'll
pasa
be
nada.
fine. I'll promise. Okay, gracias.